grabbing a alignment rod so we can. Oh, right here's good. Just come stand with me and I'll have you. Okay, coaches, new game. We're talking about power out. All right, so let's talk about the genesis of power out. So a couple different things here. First of all, when you're figuring out why you're making a game, you're trying to induce some kind of player action. Okay, now the trick is, like we talk about in the heuristic tree stuff in the cert, and if you haven't heard that term, I'll post something separate to that, which is you want a starting rule of thumb, easy way to get into the game, and then layering in more interesting aspects of the game that the players discovering for themselves. Okay, so let's talk about power out. So it's 30 balls, which we've tested as a pretty good number. Pretty key here, actually, completely key, that you start exactly 90 degrees from your opponent. Now the game also utilizes a couple different things. From a deterministic model standpoint, we've talked about how a player coordinating arm, wrist, body motions to control acceleration rate as super high in the hierarchy of needs. So there's going to be some aspects where they are forced to power out and take some of the power out of their stroke and still figure out where it's coming from. So some learning there. Second to that, you're going to see the necessity for the ball to go past the hole and on the high side. Third to that, another dimension which we're talking about, which is two different kinds of point tracking. So what I'm talking about is when you go past the hole, if you do, you earn a power point no matter where it goes. Past the hole, power point. If it goes in, make point, all good. So as you're working counterclockwise, clockwise to your opponent, the first person to make 5 wins the game. But 3 power points and I can induce a power out to my opponent. So let's play and we're going to show you how this shakes out.
If you leave one short, it is also go back to 0 for your power points.
Correct. Last little rule there. If you're short, we decided to make it a little bit more penal, and so any power points that you have get eradicated. All right, so 90 degrees for my opponent. So I'm just going to say one more thing about this. So in a perfect world, think about this. If I hit my putt, the first thing to do is to make sure it gets there, because I want that power point if I miss. But if I miss it and I keep it on the high side and I'm just past the hole, we don't want them blowing it by. Then if I can actually think, sort of create a mental model for this ahead of time, I realize that my miss is the best possible scenario because it blocks his entry, forcing him to a bad position. That is not explicitly told in the game, but that is another layer that we hope emerges out of the gameplay. So something to keep in mind here for that instruction. So, partner, let's get playing, and let's go quick here. Let's all miss the first 3, and I'm going to put you in a power out so the coaches can see. All right, so miss long, but not crazy. Now I say power out, and then for the next 5 shots, now coaches, pay attention to this, I can take out one body part. So I can say, coach, no wrists or arms. So no wrist or arms, they're going to power it with their pivot. I can say no arms, and they can just go wrists only, right? I could say no wrists or body, where it's independent arm motion. So a lot of learning there, taking some power sources out. We could even get to, I think if the game gets advanced enough, we could go one arm. You can choose. I would tend to want to stay with body only, wrist only, or arm only, and then let them self-organize off of that. 5 makes wins, power out. Think you're going to enjoy it. Good luck.